The folks out there, Brian, seem to be running the stock up on Monday as we're recording this. The stock is above 270. It's hit as high as 274 today, only 6 points away from the all-time close of
270. You mean four?
Four.
Had me sweating, Randy.
474 and 480. Yes. So we're, at one point today, only $6 away from 480. And that would only make it $14 away from the all-time intraday high. So I think maybe this is at least partially the FOMO that I've been talking about for so long. And with the Elon Musk pay package apparently out of the way, everybody's talking this weekend like it's a done deal. So that seems to be off the table a little bit this morning. I think that's what's happening. All right. So go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to say that, there was big news over the week. Was there? I don't remember any big news. Nobody's going to deny that Elon's got a big package. And that's the thing that I guess a lot of the fudsters are mad about. I did see Alexandra reposted somebody or commented on somebody's post saying it's this FUD account, this very, very deeply, consistently negative account saying we've plugged in all of the variables to our equation and it's guaranteed this pay package and all of the initiatives are going to fail. All the board approved measures will not pass. And Alexandra said, honey, you got 4 days. You want to put some money on this?
Yeah, right.
And the reality is, of course not. If I had money, I would have invested it in Tesla. But I bet against Tesla, and you know how well that works out for people.
Yeah.
So I am also of the mind that this is a done deal, because the people who are most passionate against it don't hold shares. Why would you hold shares in a company where you definitely don't believe in the CEO? It's a little weird. And there will be no votes. It will not be a 100% victory or even a 95% victory. But it doesn't have to be.
Right. Yeah. There's a few folks out there that are going to vote for other reasons. They're going to vote no. Okay. So with that in mind, folks are now, going to be focusing on, if I'm right, then people are going to start focusing on how does the ramp go? And you and I are both kind of more marketing guys than scientists in the real sense of the word. I think we both have really good street chops when it comes, like, I owned a factory for 30 years, a plastics factory. You've been messing around with these factories for the last 4 years or something, looking at what the various factories are doing and really paying attention to the details. But at our hearts, I think we're both more marketers.
Absolutely. I have worked in factories, but that is not where I would say that that's some background knowledge that I keep in my head. Marketing is much more my thing.
Yeah, I'm a scientist too, because I have a BS degree in psychology. So that makes me a scientist. Did you know that?
Well, I knew you were all about BS.
We can agree on one thing. All right. So here's why I bring up the marketing side is I have no doubt that Elon Musk can field 1 million robotaxis by the end of 2026. Now, that might be 200,000 cybercabs. It might be 300,000 Model 3s and Ys that he makes specifically to go out into the Tesla fleet. And maybe it's 500,000 Airbnb, you and me putting our cars in the fleet. But I have no doubt that he can get to the 1 million as long as there, regulations and all the things that we already know about. But manufacturing them, getting them out there, and getting them into the world, not a problem.
Okay. What I hear you saying is it will not be a technical or logistical problem, only a regulatory problem.
Potentially, right. Yeah. So that leaves me, though, and I talked about this 2 months ago, but I thought I should bring it back up because the bigger issue to me has always been, I need, let's see, at 1 million cars, I need about 30 million rides a day or 35 million rides a day, every single day. in order to justify those million cars, something in that order, because you're going to get 35 rides, in a 16-hour period. So that's a lot of rides.
Yes, it's too many. I would agree. I would argue. So I know people who do Uber, a good long shift. You might get 10, 15 rides in, 10 hours because some of the rides are longer than others. If you're pulling a Waymo where you've got a tiny coverage area, you can get a lot more micro rides, but sometimes you get the macro ride. And the macro ride, if it's 15 minutes each way, if it's 15 minutes one way, where you end up might not be the best place. You might have 3 to 5 minutes to reposition. If it's rush hour, you're barely moving. And of course, overnight, you get a lot less rides. A lot fewer people are moving at night. It's just how it works. That creates, I know people who've said, well, yes, but when I was a cabbie, we ran 24 hours a day. I said, all the cars? Well, no, not all the cars, just a handful. So, okay, well, if we're talking averages, which we must, then that's going to be an issue. So I would caution that many rides a day would be potentially problematic, potentially challenging.
All right. So I did it another way. Actually, I had Grok do it for me, but the way that I tried to analyze it was in terms of the overall market right now. 100% of rideshare in the United States is $59 billion.
Okay.
All right. And I'm figuring $500 a day on a Tesla vehicle. All right. And that ends up being $180 billion a year in annual revenue. So 3 times the entire rideshare market with 1 million vehicles. So
Crazy.
The question is, how do we're not going to take away all of those 59 billion from the competition. We'll take a bunch. I'm thinking it's going to take a bunch, but it's not going to take all of it. And that would mean we have to triple and more than triple the total number of potential dollars out there in order to justify those million vehicles. So what do you think about that?
I've got a few wrenches I can throw into your equation. The first being, you're talking dollars, not miles. If Tesla's charging less, then capturing the entire market wouldn't be 59 billion. It might be 20 billion.
Right.
That's a big wrench right there. But $500 a day, I don't know at what price you're looking to.
$2.
Okay. I appreciate you being realistic on that. I've seen too many analysts saying 20 cents, 50 cents, 80 cents. To me, anything south of $1 doesn't make sense because the costs are real. I get that it's a very cheap vehicle and that it operates more cheaply than anything else out there. But I mean, it still has tires, it still has brakes, it still has insurance. There's still platform fees to consider. It's expensive. So at $2, you're talking 250 miles a day. You're talking even at half utilization, 20 miles an hour. That doesn't sound crazy, but I would point out that $500 in a day, and you're talking total revenue, not profit,
Total revenue.
It still strikes me as high by at least a third.
Yeah, so you have to look with, this is based on Cathie Wood and her group ARK Invest. They looked at Uber, they looked at Waymo. A lot of these numbers are available, and that's what they came up with was the 250 miles a day. But again, you're talking 20 average hours a day as opposed to Uber and Lyft, which are really talking about 8 or 9 hours a day. So the potential here is about double Uber and Lyft. Not double, as you point out, because the hours, you don't get as many in the various hours.
That's the thing is, I have lost a lot of confidence in ARK Invest. I did reach out to them about an interview and they declined. I have seen their models, and a lot of them have some real head scratchers in them that I would prefer to have addressed before I put any more money in, or I'm considering just selling out of ARK because I don't think that they're connected to reality in ways that means that's meaningful to me. They say, oh, yeah, but ARK was the only one who was correct on their Tesla valuation. No, they were accidentally correct. They said if autonomy, then 20x. We got 20x without autonomy. They got lucky. So I would say if their model assumes the vehicle is going to be busy 20 hours a day, that is a deeply flawed model.
Yeah, I'm not getting into that kind of depth, and I really am looking at this as napkin math, because we could be off by 20%. We still have a lot of rides to fill if we're gonna have 1 million vehicles in the United States, not even counting Canada or Australia, just the United States. That's a lot of rides to get to even the 59 million, which is the number now, much less tripling it. And so I was trying to think as marketers, how are we going to get those?
I've got, you're lucky, Randy. I've got a video I've been working on that I plan to record later today about something close to this. I've had people say, look, this is going to destroy our roads, because if a Robotaxi gets that cheap, people will take it instead of the bus, and then traffic will be a nightmare. And I say, but it will not. And here's why. The best uses of buses today are during rush hour. When I was in college, I took the commuter bus every day. When I was working downtown, I took the commuter bus every day. And that bus is the best bus for the network. It is always full. It is always at capacity during rush hour. But there is a limiting factor on it. And that limiting factor is how many parking spots are there at the park and ride. And the reality is, if you're not taking an 8:30 a.m. class so that you can get on the bus before 7:30, you're not getting parking. And if you get to work at 8, 9, 10, you will not take the bus. You must drive. So instead of saying, no, these people will take a Robotaxi all the way to work, even at, it's a 20-mile ride, even at 50 cents a mile, you're talking $20 a day. That's too much. That's more expensive than parking. That's $800 a month. You're not going to do it. It doesn't make sense. But what you could do is instead, you get more use out of the park and ride. The limiting, the bus company, the transit authorities make good money on those commuter routes because the bus is full. And I mean full. Well, then if it's that profitable, why don't they put in more parking spots? Because a parking spot costs 80 grand. It all of a sudden blows up the economics when you have to factor in all that parking. So if I can get to the bus for $2-3 and get back from the bus for $2-3, all of a sudden the bus makes all the sense in the world. We've got fewer cars on the road. Now, riddle me this: if everybody who's using the park and ride, if everybody who's going to take the commuter rail or the commuter bendy buses is now a $6 a day customer, $5 a day customer, what just happened to our economics?
Yeah, becomes much, much better. And to your point, it also opens up that bus route to different times of day that people might not have even contemplated the bus, because the parking lot is full. So why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The bus might run every 10, 20 minutes until the park and ride is full, but they know what time the park and ride fills, and then they drop it back to once an hour. Right. So exactly right. They can now expand the coverage during the time when people are filling the buses. And that's profitable. You can do that. If you're filling a bus, you can afford to add more buses. It's the real drain on those transit systems is all the buses running around with 3-4 passengers in the middle of the day because they exist to be a public good rather than a profitable business. If every bus was full, we'd be solved.
Right. Okay. So that's one good one. We can pick up some folks that way. Any other thoughts?
Oh, that was the extent of the thesis on my
video. That was your thesis. Well, I did ask 𝐸 today, and 𝐸 was saying that another one would be middle to upper income professionals that are making. 𝐸 said from 40,000 to 150,000. I think 𝐸 meant 100,000 plus, who are needing to get to work and back. They've got a car, but if they take a Robotaxi, they can work. But they're not going to take an Uber first of all, because it's now in California, it's $3 a mile. They're not going to take an Uber because then they got to deal with the driver and the tipping and all that kind of stuff. But to take a Robotaxi with no driver, they're going to be able to get in, go to work right away. It's going to be set up with their information on the screen if they want information on the screen. I mean, all that's going to be done for them. So they get out of the hassle of driving and they get work time. This is a suggestion by Grok. What do you think?
I don't hate it. It depends on the work, of course. For a lot of people who have Children's Hospital Seattle, it's a wonderful hospital. It's a wonderful place to work. There's no parking. There's just no parking. If you work at Children's Hospital, it will take you longer to get to a parking spot and get inside than it took you to drive there. And that's no indictment on the hospital. For patients, the parking is good because they reserve that space. So for a lot of places, there are events that I've been invited to where I have declined because just know there's no parking. I'm not going to do. So instead of getting there 15 minutes early to be 10, 15 minutes early, I'm going to get there 20 minutes early to be 5 minutes late because I finally found a parking spot. It's 3 blocks away and it costs $20. Those are the use cases I want to see. If I'm going to go downtown for something, and yeah, I've had that happen. We're at a Tesla event. We're having fun. People say, "Oh, there's a couple different after party things. Which one do you want to go to?" The one with parking. It'd be nice to just take that off the table and say the best one. I'd like to go to the best one. So I think for those commuters, and I would agree with you that while the Uber driver doesn't care if I'm on my phone or I'm on my computer, they kind of care. And as a human, I recognize that and I'm going to behave accordingly. I would love to, when I'm in a car, be able to just shoot a video real quick, get some thoughts recorded, but I don't want to look like a clown. So I've done this precisely once, and it was only after I explained to the driver what I was doing and got permission. Because, wait, am I in the video? I don't. So it's also about, we respect boundaries. And I understand the boundaries of a robot more clearly than I do a person I do not know. Right. So I think all of that is valuable. And I don't think those commuters are going to use that time for work. I think they're going to say that they're using it for work. They're going to use it for TikTok. They're going to use it for X and Reddit and whatever it is, and posting the absolutely silliest cat you've ever seen on Facebook. That's what they do, Randy. And then, of course, but you know what? It's your time. Take it back. Use it any way you see fit. And if there's 2 aspects to life, if you've ever seen a article on how to save more money, it just says spend more time doing things that you would rather not do. And if you look at the same article that says how to have more time, it says spend more money on things so they're done for you.
Right.
Time is finite. We all get the same amount of it, at least, maybe not towards the end, but take back your time. If it makes sense, will you pay $3 extra over what you would have paid to have your own car and drive it? Will you pay that to enjoy the next hour?
Yeah. And, there will be people that are weird like me who will work in the car. I mean, I don't know if you know this about me, but while I watch football games, I'm also on X, making money by being by posting dozens and dozens of videos. Dozens, I'm sorry, of posts on X. I think I had 180,000 impressions yesterday while the football games were on. So how about the elderly and the immobile, children who and some women who right now
I don't believe in elderly immobile children. Oh, you had commas in there. My mistake.
Yes,
Please continue.
yes. Okay. Elderly, I understand. So we got the elderly, we get the immobile, we've got children, we've got women who these individuals will be nervous about riding with a driver. especially an Uber driver, because for some reason people trust Uber drivers less than cab drivers. To me, it's the same, but it's true. They trust them less. So I think it's the press, probably the way the press has thrown the Uber thing out of whack. Anyway, but the point is, all four of those groups now, people will trust a vehicle that doesn't have the potential boogeyman driving it.
Mm-hmm. All true. I don't distrust Uber drivers per se, but I definitely don't explicitly trust them. I understand that women have had negative experiences with Uber drivers. And if you're going to pack your friend into a car and send her home drunk after the bachelorette party, it would be nice to know that she's definitely that the closest to being taken advantage of she will be is that when they're screaming at her from the screen to wake up and get out of the car, it takes a few extra minutes and the meter's still running. That is a possibility, but I think they would just terminate the ride when you get there rather than when the door opens. That is a tremendous benefit, I would say, all around. There's just no debating it. And if you're sending your 13-year-old kid to soccer practice or a social event on Saturday, wouldn't that be great to just know that they have their own dedicated space, that they're not going to be annoying somebody, and that no one's going to be pestering them? There's value in that many people would pay extra for. Good news, we're not going to make you.
Right, exactly. Well, this is so much fun that I want to do it again. So this is going to be part 1, and we're going to go into part 2, where we expand our brains even bigger to an additional 10 TAMs. And some of these are bigger than the TAMs we just got done talking about.
Nice.
Yeah. So until I see you again, it has been great. You all out there, not him, but all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.